We're so excited to have a beautiful conversation all around acne. My name is Kaylee Christina. I am an integrative health practitioner. But before we get started, I would love for both of my co hosts here to introduce themselves, give a little bit of their background so you know what we're talking about on this podcast. Would love to start with you, Dr. Omar.
My name's Dr. Omar. I'm a board certified dermatologist in Chicago. I did my training at Yale School of Medicine. Then I did my residency at Cleveland Clinic and I did an aesthetic fellowship. So I pretty much got the whole gamut of like acne, psoriasis, atopic dermatitis, eczema, all that, but also all the fun stuff like the lasers and the fillers and the Botox, which we'll probably get into a little bit later.
Oh, yes.
But yep, that's me. That's my story.
Amazing. I think one of my favorite things about you is your blend of whole body knowledge as it also applies to dermatology and all of your patients. It's incredible to hear the way you speak to them and just the way that your brain works with integrating it all.
I appreciate that.
Okay, so hi, I'm Danielle Gronich, the acne guru. I am a certified acne specialist and an owner of San Diego Acne Clinic. I've been an acne specialist for about 11 years now, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of ClearSTEM Skincare. And I'm very happy to be here with you all discussing acne so we can change the lives of as many people as possible.
Sometimes it's really hard to know what's true, what's not when there's so many information. So I would love to hear from both of you. What is one skincare myth that you used to believe in or you hear all the time from your patients?
So, the one skincare myth that is more acne specific that has been around for decades, and I'm still surprised people still believe it, is acne is caused because your skin's dirty. And that is wrong on so many levels. And I just, first and foremost, I hate how they put the blame on the patient. Like, your skin's dirty, you're not washing enough, you're not changing your sheets enough. These things, they perpetuate a really negative stereotype and negative myth. And I'm still surprised that people still believe it.
I agree. It makes people feel like they're doing something wrong, that
Exactly.
they're dirty, and by having acne, that they're the problem and
Exactly.
they're unhygienic,
Yeah.
which is the total opposite. And acne is already so psychologically challenging and takes such a hit on your
Absolutely.
confidence. On top of people thinking that you're dirty is only making it worse.
Absolutely.
And I second that. And what I have noticed is the people who just genetically don't break out at all, they don't even wash their face. Like
Yep.
So
they are
true.
dirtier.
That's true.
Whereas people with acne are over cleansing and using all the antibacterial stuff. It's wild. Yeah, I'm glad that that perception, I think it's changing that
Mhm.
acne is a dirty condition. But I think it's still prevalent, especially with like the older generations. Like if they're
Yeah,
trying to coach someone on acne, their mind goes there. So
absolutely.
hopefully we'll weed that thought out of society. My biggest myth that really frustrates me because it's so misleading for people is that all acne is hormonal.
Mhm.
Just because hormones are present does not mean that that is the root cause. And I think people need to understand that correlation is different than causation.
Mhm.
That is one of the biggest things that I think is the root cause of misinformation online and anywhere is correlation versus causation. So there is something called acne cosmetica that's literally just the acne caused from products. There's not that much research on it. I actually think if they did a wider, more well-designed study, that they would find the correlation is much higher than
Mhm.
previously thought. But as a practitioner who's been doing only acne for over 11 years, um, it's pore clogging ingredients are a much bigger factor than hormones for most people.
Yep.
So yeah, and the reason that that myth needs to be busted is because um, women think that they have to be on all this hormonal modifying medication, like they have to be on spironolactone or they have to be on birth control, and those have their own side effects, and it's not addressing the root cause. So, spinning people up and having them look um, in a direction that's not the real answer wastes a lot of time and causes a lot of more suffering. So, yeah, myth busting. Not all acne is hormonal.
I think that's a great point, and I'd love to just stay on spironolactone for just a second. Dr. Omar, what are some things that you wish patients knew
Mhm.
before either going on spironolactone or requesting it or wanting to go on?
So spironolactone, I use that a lot in
Mhm.
my practice. It's especially in young females, female patients that are of reproductive potential, and they have classic hormonal acne. And what I mean by classic hormonal acne is where you have like the cysts on your cheeks and your lower face and the beard area. That screams like hormonal acne. And if they're having, cyclical breakouts around their periods, that can tell you it's more hormonal. So spironolactone overall is extremely safe. Tons of studies have shown that in young individuals that don't have blood pressure issues, because it is a blood pressure medication, it really minimally affects your blood pressure. However, it's not the be all end all. I have tons and tons and tons of patients that either can't tolerate spironolactone or it just doesn't work for them.
Mhm.
I completely agree with you, Danielle. You just have to make sure that you're treating the patient holistically and you're
Mhm.
treating them from the inside out and the outside in.
Yeah, I was on spironolactone multiple times in between the rounds of Accutane, and I felt like it didn't do anything at first, and then they increased the dosage, and then I saw a decrease in oil, which I found helpful. But at the end of the day, for me, it was still my products that were causing it, and yeah, it's I think spironolactone is super helpful for all the women who might be PCOS leaning, which is so underdiagnosed. Like that's when I've seen it really create a lot of meaningful change for people, and
Yeah, you just like counsel on like the potential for like lightheadedness, dizziness, like breast tenderness, things like that. Those are always temporary. But long term, it's safe to be on, but you're totally right. It has to be the right patient for which that medication works.
Mhm.
So we talk a lot about who's appropriate for certain prescriptions like spironolactone and who's not appropriate where they may not tolerate. What are some things that show up that deem if a patient maybe can't tolerate it or isn't the best fit for it?
That's a great question. So it's all about potential for side effects. So I have patients that their blood pressure tends to run low, or they're avid runners. They work out a lot, or
Mm.
heavy lifters. These are
Why is
things.
that? Is it because the blood pressure component
The
of it?
blood pressure, it's a little dehydrating. It can sometimes cause muscle cramps, but also when you're using anti-hormonal things like spironolactone, for example, it can affect your energy levels. Very rarely, but it can.
I did get tired on it. I
Yeah,
remember that.
it can cause like fatigue and
Yeah.
lethargy, and it can also affect your ability to put on muscle because it is still
Wow.
blocking some of those hormones. So I have a few patients that they are really big on like weightlifting, and they
Yeah.
some one of them actually competes, and she said absolutely not. I could never do spironolactone because I don't want to gain weight. I don't want it to affect the way I build muscle. So there are a lot of things that you have to counsel about the side effects that might not make it right for some people.
This is so interesting. And Danielle, I want to get to you in a second because I want to hear what you recommend for people when they're not a good fit for spironolactone and what to look for. But what I think is so interesting when my brain is going a million miles a minute right now, because all of a sudden, when you said that spironolactone can create tiredness and lethargy, I think of that woman who is maybe a little more the career woman or she's the mom. She's already a little more tired. She's working really hard and this can add a little more tiredness. So, what does she do to counteract that? Maybe she has a little too much coffee. Maybe she has energy drinks to combat the side effects, which is teeing up Danielle perfectly. Danielle, what can be going on with coffee or energy drinks that can actually be perpetuating the acne, the clear skin chase, that vicious acne cycle we all get in. So we're getting lethargy from the spironolactone. Then we're counteracting with energy drinks and coffee and more caffeine. How can that actually perpetuate more acne that's counteracting all the good that the spironolactone is doing?
This is such an important question because I think a lot of women, people in general, but especially women, can relate to just being more tired
Mhm. I
than
feel that.
they want to be, right? I think that's natural because we're so like ever present in our minds and thinking about everything. So we burn up a lot more mental energy than I think some people do. But anyway, being tired and then being chasing to get rid of that, we go for the coffee, we go for the energy drinks, we go for medications that have a stimulant effect. I know a lot of people that are on Wellbutrin because of the stimulant effect, and then other things. But what we have to remember is that anything that speeds you up can break you out. Generally, things like when you go into the category of like the Adderall or the Ritalin conversation, when you take stimulants, it speeds up oil production and it can spike testosterone temporarily. And when we have a big testosterone surge, that's where we get hormonal acne. And our testosterone naturally ebbs and flows throughout the day. And as women, it ebbs and flows throughout our cycle. But when we have something like, say, we do like 3 espressos, that can spike your testosterone right then and there from that. And then the oil production speeds up. your heat, your general heat in the body increases, and that actually leads to inflammation.
Mhm.
So, if you had even a tiny breakout from something small and you start toying with your testosterone in any way via a stimulant of any kind, it's going to make that acne worse.
Mhm.
And it's going to make it harder for it to go away because the inflammation just shot up as well.
So, this is what we like to call the clear skin chase. You
Mhm.
get acne. You may first go to your dermatologist. You get prescribed spironolactone, which may very well help with your acne. Then maybe you're getting some unwanted or unexpected side effects, and naturally you're counteracting those with some type of stimulant. Then all of a sudden, the stimulant is having a hormonal effect as well, re triggering that acne, getting you stuck in a vicious cycle. And that's why it's so important to identify one by one the root causes of acne, but also to understand how all of these things interact with each other. So you are no longer the victim and you now have power over understanding what is causing this vicious acne cycle. And because prescriptions and dermatology, while clinical esthetician, acne specialists, and nutrition are all a part of this incredible cycle to actually get you out, it's really important to have this conversation to connect everything.